You probably blunder your pieces every other game, which results in you losing games which you're probably winning. This is a very common problem, and there's one simple solution to fix it. This solution will help you rapidly increase your rating and you will become a great chess player. Do you wanna know the secret? Then put this video on full screen and give me all the focus you have. So, the secret is, whenever your opponent makes a move, ask yourself, what is the threat here, and why did my opponent play this move? And what does he want? And if there is no threat, we make our own threat. Simple, right? But you will forget this very soon. So, to sculpt this question in your mind, I have an example game to show you. So in this game, white starts the game with e4 and black plays c5, the Sicilian defense. White develops the knight out and black plays e6. White develops the other knight out to c3 and now black plays a6. Now we can ask ourselves, what is the threat here? Why did they play this move instead of developing their knight or their bishop or their other knight? Why this? Maybe they don't want my bishop here. Maybe they don't want my knight here, or maybe they are looking to push this pawn forward in the future. So there's not really any threats. So we can continue to develop our pieces. So in the game, white plays d4, opening up this bishop. Black takes the pawn, we take back. And now black plays queen c7. Again, we ask ourselves, what is the threat here and why did my opponent make this move? Let's see if this queen is attacking anything. It can take this, but it's defended. Does he have any checks? No. So there's no threat, we can simply develop our pieces. In the game, white develops the bishop out to d3. And now black finally develops their knight to f6. Now white plays bishop e3, developing all the minor pieces. And black plays bishop d6. Now again, let's ask ourselves, what is the threat here? The queen and the bishop are making a battery towards here. Is that a threat? Because if we play something like this and they take, the bishop is trapped. So this is not really a threat, at least for now, because the bishop gets trapped if it takes the pawn. So what is the move that we play next? All the pieces are developed. We gotta get our king to safety, right? So we castle, right? We can't castle because if we castle, black can take this pawn for free, so we can't castle. So instead of castling, we first have to deal with this threat. The threat is, if white castles, this pawn is free and black can take it with check. So that's the threat. So to counter the threat, we can play this, this, or this, or this. This is a bad move, but so there are three moves in the game. In the game, white plays h3, which is the best move. Now black castles, white castles, and b5. Again, what is the threat here? Why did they make this move? Maybe they want to kick my knight away, but I can just come back, so that's not really a threat. So remember what I said earlier in the video. If there is no threat, we make our own threats. So white in this game plays f4, making their own threats. What is the threat here? By pushing this pawn, it supports this pawn, and we are threatening to fork these two pieces. Black sees this threat and plays e5. Again, let's ask ourselves, what is the threat here? They are threatening to take our knight, they are threatening to take our pawn. Let's see what happens if we take the pawn to counter the threat. We take, they take, and black's bishop is better. So we don't really want that. Now let's see what happens if we save the knight here. We go here, they take our pawn, we take the bishop, they have to take the knight, and we take the pawn back. That looks good, and also it brings the knight forward to the opponent's territory. So in the game, white plays knight f5. Black takes the pawn, white takes the bishop, and now instead of taking the knight, black takes the bishop. Now first let's ask the question, what is the threat here? Our knight is still under attack, that's the threat. But why is this not a threat? Look at this queen, and look at this rook. Look at this bishop, and look at this knight. This bishop is x-raying here, This queen is ready to jump in. This rook is also ready to jump in. But this knight is very annoying and the king is not open. So white solves all of his problem by sacrificing his rook. Rook takes f6. Black defends the knight, opens up the king and makes a way for the queen. Black can't take the knight because they lose their queen, so black has to take the rook. Black takes the rook. Now the move is obvious. We give this check. Black only has one move, that is king h8. And now let's ask ourselves one more time, what is the threat in my position? This knight is still under attack, but we have ourselves our own attack. But the queen can't checkmate the king by itself. So the bishop can help. So we need to open up this bishop and we also need to defend the knight. White again solves both the problems by playing e5. This defends the knight and also opens up the bishop. Black doesn't know what to do now. So black plays queen c5. Let's ask ourselves one last time, what is the threat here? The queen moved here. The queen x-rays the king. If this pawn moves, it will be a check on the king. Now, is that a threat here? Because if this pawn moves, we can just hide here. And this pawn is not queening because of a rook. And there's not really a threat here. So, remember what I told earlier in the video. If there is no threat, we make our own threats. So, what is the biggest threat in chess? It is checkmate. So, white takes the pawn on f6, threatening checkmate on g7, and black can't stop it. If they play this, checkmate. So, black gives us this check, we hide, and now checkmate is unstoppable. Black gives up the queen, we take the queen. Now the queen, we check, we take the queen. They attack our queen with the rook and we deliver checkmate like this. I hope you learned how to never blunder your pieces again. Thanks for watching.